Shalom, giving all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 rest of the overall elect out there. This is your brother, the priest, as I want for GMS Atlanta. Back with another edifying video. Another Motb update on the digital system. And another country in Africa, as you can see here, Somalia, is introducing the digital ID system, and it's definitely a big, major trend that I see happening all around the world. Is the elites are getting ready, and these governments are getting ready for a new, this reset, as they call it. You know, the Great Reset. And it's going to be a digital reset. And they're setting up a system that they can implement and apply with the AI and different technologies, biometrics, in order for them to make themselves like the Most High. They want to be the gods on earth and eventually in the heavens. That's why they have their Hubble space telescopes. They got these space stations, satellites. They basically want to take over the creation of Yahweh Bashman because they don't believe in them. And so one way for them to do that is to take control of the citizens of Earth. Take over the Earth. Hey, this is nothing but a classic supervillain trope that we're seeing happening in real life. But the way to do it is through deception. That's why we call them the devil. And they're going to use this digital ID system that they're pushing all over the world in order to get everyone in their clutches. All right? So now the most recent one here, or one of the recent ones here, is Somalia, which is out of East Africa. So it says Somalia walking a thorny road to an inclusive national digital ID system. So you got to ask yourselves, why are all these countries around the world doing the same exact thing? So there has to be some kind of plan behind it that is bigger than just, this prime minister and this president and this leader and that leader. It's bigger than this government in this country. Okay? It's the plan of the elites behind the scenes. So it says, flashback about 30 years ago, Somalia had no functional national ID system. So they didn't have an identity system in Somalia. Legal identity in this Horn of African nation was a far-fetched dream for many. But since 2023, the country has a different story. An ambitious story of a country poised for progress in the implementation of an inclusive and effective national digital ID system despite several challenges. And this is why this is a lead up to the Motb. Let me read the prophecy. And I've been doing a lot of videos on this lately, but that's the current news and prophecy right now. Okay? So hopefully this comes up. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, let's see. Let's turn this off. I don't need any Wi-Fi here. So maybe they're doing So let's do this. Let's go to one of these other Bibles here. Okay, the Bible Hub. Let's go to the Bible Hub. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Yeah, it seems like the blue letter's probably under some kind of maintenance. So this Revelation chapter 13. I don't need the commentary. I want the actual. Okay, well, I'll just go to the verse. So you can see here, Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So this mark is something that is what? All inclusive. No matter your social status, you're going to get whatever whatever your financial status is, whatever your status in society, that's who the mark is for. That's what I'm trying to say. So it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. So that's including everybody. Okay? Nobody's exempt from who this mark will be for. To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right? But before they can introduce that mark, they have to have a system set up. They have to have a system set up that they can use to include everyone. Okay? So I'm going to read some more in this article. It says, in an interview on the sidelines of the ID for Africa 2025 AGM recently, right? And I mentioned this before, ID for Africa is pretty much where they get together to in different African countries to push this digital ID system. It says the Director General of Somalia's National Identification and Registration Authority, Abdulwali Ali Abdul, painted a picture of a country that is fully engaged in its identity development journey despite huge infrastructural, security, and awareness problems. And see, they don't have the infrastructure and security to have this ID system, but they're going to build it. They're going to develop it. And this means that Somalia is one of those countries in Africa that's on board. They're on board with Esau's agenda. The leaders are on board with Esau's agenda. Now, you can see here in this image, right, this is what they were bringing forth. It says a unique national ID number, 11 digits, biometric, fingerprints and facial recognition, digital and physical ID cards. And that's what they're pushing now, but eventually they're going to move to the implant. But first they have to set the infrastructure. They got to set the system up. So this is another step closer, once again, to the Motb. GMS is right. And this is just what they're doing in Somalia. Okay? It says about 85% of citizens in the country currently have no legal identity. So this is one of those rural African countries. If y'all remember the Feed the Hungry commercials back in the day in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, where they were always showing you starving children, a lot of those children were out of the country of Somalia. They didn't have any identification, and there were a lot of resources that they didn't have. So like they said earlier in the article, within the last 30 years now, since 2023, they want to include even those Somalians in those rural areas so they can be fed, so they can have access to hospitals and medical care and education, things like that. Okay, government benefits. So they're going to set up this biometric national digital ID system, and they're going to give them cards and fingerprint them, and they're going to, know everything about them. Then eventually they're going to introduce the implant technology. And that's going to be the mark of the beast. So this is right on line with prophecy. So now the next article I want to get, and I spoke on this before, out of Europe, I believe. But here it says palm and face biometrics in competition as retail payment modalities of choice. Right? And then you see the man here holding his hand over the payment terminal. Okay? So, hey, GMS is always right. GMS have the 100% truth, especially when it comes to the prophecy of the Motb. All these other Israelite groups, ISUBK, IUIC, HOI, WFI, all these groups, they're all wrong when it comes to these scriptures and these prophecies. It says Palm Biometrics is gaining around with companies planning implementations in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Why? Because this is another step closer to the mark of the beast. When it comes, and it will be an implantable microchip, you Israelite leaders, y'all are going to scramble with your congregation and your doctrine, and you're going to have to admit GMS is right, or you're going to continue to be sellouts and tell your people that it's okay to take it. Or you'll tell the truth, but you're going to have to admit GMS is right. That would be the honest thing to do. That would be the truthful, that would be the godly thing to do. So it says, while fingerprints and face biometrics remain far more common in daily use, palm biometrics arguably offers more convenience. So now they're selling you about paying with your hand, since palm scanning doesn't require pressing a finger. It is also touted for its security, since an individual's palm veins are highly unique. Now, paying with your hand, your palm, like they got it in Whole Foods, here in the U.S., here in America. Paying with your palm is not the Motb, all right? But it is a step closer, because once they get you used to paying with your hand, all right, then they can say, well, now we got to put a device in your hand. And it's going to happen. It's going to be made mandatory. They already have the technology. It's just a matter of time before they introduce it. It says in Poland, Hand Go by AutoPay is being piloted. So they're piloting all these programs for this. It is supposedly the first biometric purchases offering using the palm in Poland. Okay? Let me jump down. In the Middle East and Africa, ID Centric is deploying its ePalm palm vein authentication for payments. The rollouts are part of ID Centric's global growth strategy, with Executive Chairman and CEO Muhannad Azeh envisioning contactless identity verification engineered for the needs of government and financial services sectors. In Singapore, Fair Price Group is tantalizing consumers with its Store of Tomorrow initiative that shows off the future of retail with AI, automation, and biometrics. So this is what we're seeing coming to the planet Earth. Okay? Face biometrics, retail payments, launch in Armenia, growing in Russia. In Russia, a biometric payment system has reached a significant milestone. The Smile to Pay retail system, developed by the country's largest bank, Sberbank, has reached 1 million installations. So they're doing this in Russia. In Japan, right? In Japan, at the recent Expo 2025 in Osaka, NEC introduced face biometric payments technology to a wider audience. In a YouTube video, NEC boasted that it is the largest in-store payment system in Japan that integrates electronic money and face recognition. So this is where we're at with payment. So paying with your hand, the payments and paying with your palm, your hand, is going hand in hand. Pun intended, no pun intended. But it's lining up with prophecy. Okay? It's lining up with prophecy. It's lining up with the scriptures. Okay? So the next step is the actual digital all, the biometric implant, the micro C hip, to go in your hand or your forehead. This is Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. This is that inclusion that they were speaking about, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Let's read the next verse. Revelation 13 and 17. And that no man might buy or sell. Payments. You're going to have to make payments now with your hand soon. And eventually you're going to have that implant. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you tell me how is the Motb talking about sin in all its forms? How is it talking about John 3:16 and believing in false doctrines? How is the mark sleeping with white women? When what we're seeing here is we're literally seeing right here where they're using palm biometrics to pay for items. We're living in the time of the end. Daniel 12 and 4. Knowledge has been increased. When you increase knowledge, you increase innovation and technology, tools, and society develops, so-called progresses. So, I'm in the ear. GMS is 100% right. And y'all better get with the true doctrine of Yahweh Shema Shai and repent, or else you're going to be destroyed in that nuclear destruction. And this is going out to all you Israelite groups outside of GMS that's not teaching what GMS is teaching. We're coming down to the wire, man. We're coming down to the end of this man's society. The end of Esau is coming soon. And the Lord has it set up where only one group is right. Now we have the truth, but are we going to endure until the end? We hope that we're of the hopeful elect. So we say that humbly, but boldly we also say, because scriptures say that the righteous are as bold as a lion. All the prophets have to have the 100% truth. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Yahweh, Peter, Paul, James, John, Obadiah, Joel. All the prophets had the 100% truth at that time of what the Lord was saying. They weren't lying in the name of the Lord. We're not lying in the name of the Lord. That's what we mean by saying we have 100% truth. Whatever the Lord has revealed to us, it's the truth. Just to put that out there. So I hope this was edifying. Until the next time, I say Shalom.